Well, this is the trail to a waterfall in the Grampians called the Silverband waterfall. And I'm preparing myself for disappointment because last week it rained a heap in Melbourne and it looks dry as a bone up here. So it looks like I'm going to be looking at nothing but a trickle. This is not natural, this is just mess. This is a bit like taking antibiotics. You know, you clear foul your intestinal flora and then you get diarrhea when the bad bacteria grows back. This is what's happened to the Australian bush. It got clear fouled by logging and clearing and whatnot. And this is the crap that grew back. It's not really natural. Oh yeah, it's native, but it's not a natural ecosystem. Forest would normally be tall like that gum tree there. Then it'll be perhaps some lily-pilly, even here a bit of tree fernery. It's very dry as a result. Look at this. Where's these waterfalls? I was prepared for disappointment, but not this. This is really bad. Well, here I am after an 800-metre walk. They call this the Silverband waterfalls, I think. That's what the sign said. I've got to say, it's quite picturesque here. It rained last week quite heavily in Melbourne. I heard it rained in the country too, but obviously not here. Out in Western Victoria. So I've only got a bit of a trickle, but at least it's something. Oh, he's sticking his head out there. Back there, the Echidna. Look, he's walking off. Better catch up. Here he goes. Just being quiet so he doesn't stick his head in himself and nick off. We can see him in flight. He's even having a look around this way. The less I intrude, the better. I reckon he looks like you could almost approach him with a stick full of ants and feed him. Doesn't look too scared of me. Well, I guess if you had spines like that all over your back, you wouldn't be too scared of anything. Well, we've seen enough of this little fella. I'll keep moving. That's right, I was in the middle of something when the Echidna thing took over. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. ABC did a documentary recently where everyone's getting really small blocks and filling them up with 100% house and no trees, and then they get the black tiles because they're in fashion. You got black bitumen, you got concrete pavement, and I said that the temperature rises 6-7 degrees. You get heat waves in these suburbs. It's on the ABC. I mean, it's not rocket science. You put something black in the sun, it's going to get hotter than something that reflects the heat, like a white object, or better yet, if it's grass, grass will never get so hot you need to tiptoe across it, whereas beach sand, which is already light in colour, imagine how bad it would be if it was black. But it's light in colour and, you get bloody hot because it's a surface that will absorb a lot of heat. And that's what really heats the air. Air's invisible. Light goes through it, and so does infrared. Otherwise, infrared goggles wouldn't work if infrared was blocked by so-called carbon dioxide, which doesn't even absorb infrared. It just sort of refracts it like a cloud. So really, if you had like 0.4%, the atmosphere's 0.4% carbon dioxide, up from 0.3 au natural. Would be bloody do for starters. And even if it was 98% carbon dioxide and we breathe carbon dioxide or something, we'd end up with an atmosphere similar to a cloudy day, because clouds do the same thing. They refract light. They're white. That's why they look like frosted glass. Realistically, that's what it is. So a cloudy day is not super cold at night. There's no freeze, but then again, in the daytime, it's a lot cooler than the extreme heat of a sunny day. So therefore, we'd have mild everything, really, if we had a high carbon dioxide atmosphere. So it's really meh. The real thing that is causing global heating is deforestation and urbanisation, concretification. True word, that, concretification. I read it on a wall, but funny enough, in Manila, which is a concrete jungle and a half. Someone was complaining, they wrote it on a wall. So, and that's where I discovered this. It's just a cruise around on a motorbike in the tropics. Stinking hot in the cities. Got out in the countryside, it was just a little bit less heat. Still hot, nasty in the rice fields. As soon as I hit some tropical jungle, it was like walking into an air-conditioned office. I'm not kidding. There wasn't much as far as forest to go around either. So, but I tell you what, that's how significant the difference was between farmland and jungle. So you can imagine when we've done this to our forests, which are kind of like, as I said, some sort of post-antibiotic treatment diarrhea as far as forests are concerned, you can imagine what the problems we are having. It's not rocket science, it's just basic math. Very basic. You don't need to be a mathematician to know that 2 + 2 = 4. Don't need to be a scientist to know what I'm saying is basic science. Year 7 level science. Put a carpet in the sun on a concrete footpath, middle of summer. Walk across the concrete on bare feet, yes. Feet are burning. Walk on the carpet, yeah, no worries. Why? Because carpet's more like a forest. Now, like I was saying, I'll continue my rambling. The heat from these hot surfaces, concretification, if you would, bitumen surfaces, black tiled roofs, no trees, no forest, not even grass. What happens to heat? Bit of COVID. So these surfaces in turn heat the air because, as I said, light goes straight through air. It doesn't heat the air en route to the Earth's surface. You say, how do you know that? Well, that's because we have snow on the mountains, all right? It's up high, away from the general mass of the Earth's surface. Or should it not mass? The general square hectareage of the Earth's surface, down at sea level. That's where all the convection is occurring. Up on high, the hot air rises and cools as it gets away from this surface, causing our weather. Highs and lows, wind, rain, sun, snow. So up on high, you got your cool air. Why? Because like I said, the sun goes straight through the air like nothing. Goes straight through like a dose of salts. Good dose of castor oil straight through. So, a lot of diarrhea references, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes to explain it. So it goes straight through. That's why we have snow on the mountain. Up on high, closer to the sun. Mountains are close to the sun. Less atmosphere between the sun and the top of the mountain, but it's covered in snow. Lots of UV, but lots of cold temperatures. Because no one's behind me listening to me ramble. No, that's good. Good. Would have been embarrassing if someone was coming up behind me as I'm talking, listening to me ramble. So anyway, obviously the sun is not directly heating the air, or we'd have snow in the valley and no snow on top of the mountain peaks. See, like I said, you don't need to have to be a rocket scientist to know this stuff. All you have to do is apply some critical thinking and ignore the repetitious bullshit you hear on the fake news. I think we're done. I'm nearly back into the car park and I'm going to get my ass kicked by Cleo, who was bussing for a piss, and I said, check out the waterfall, So I've done actually 1.6 kilometres of walking. Oh, I'm going to be in so much trouble. See you later.